Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Art House. So I wanted to follow up again and do a little, kind of like an announcement video. So a couple days ago, we had a huge, massive announcement. Erik announced that the printing and packaging is completely done. So the product's going to start shipping next week. And what I believe that means is that it's going to be shipping from the Chinese factory. All right. So we still got to get through logistics. I believe from China, it goes through the distribution partner. I think ShipQuest is the partner they used for a Kickstarter fulfillment. So it'll go to those hubs, regional hubs throughout the world, and then it'll get disseminated out to the Kickstarter supporters, which are all over the world, right? So there's a lot of logistics, shipping time. But again, the work is done. It's just logistics and shipping, and maybe in 1 to 2 months, I guess, we'll have the product in hand. So here we are, mid-March, maybe late April or sometime in May. Hopefully, we'll have product in hand, but it's close. The work is done. We're just waiting for it to arrive. So it's super exciting. So what I did, I'm going to slide myself up in the corner here. After the announcement about production, finishing, and shipment, Erik opened up the Discord for a 1-hour Q&A. So I went through the Discord. I just kind of like pulled out the comments, right? I didn't want to go live through the Discord page as I was recording and presenting this material. But I also weeded out some of the trivial stuff where there were some weird questions and just some joking around, right? But I grabbed the pertinent details that I think people would be most interested in. And here you have it. So first one. All right, and this one was kind of a joke too, right? Erik, what's your favorite card, bro? So, of course, he says Erik's Curiosa, which is amazing artwork by Francesca Beraldi in Italy, who is a cartographer and artist. She does a lot of map art. She did the backs of the spell cards and the atlas cards and many illustrations for several cards beyond that. But there's one card called Erik's Curiosa, which is the namesake, like that's the name of the company, and there's a lot of like cool stuff. There's a little Easter egg from Path of Exile, the former project that Erik had founded and started and had great success with. So kind of funny to start things off. And then he says, what part of the project has given you the most enjoyments and laughs? All right, so he says the most enjoyment is to try to puzzle together the most perfect art, flavorful, elegant cards, with all the individual parts fitting together in a way that makes the whole much greater. I see some maybe less extravagant cards like Polar Bears and Autumn Unicorn as big wins here. All right, so actually, let's call up the page and go to, let's go to Collector Art House. And what were the two cards? He says Polar Bears and Autumn Unicorn. All right, so Polar Bears is by Melissa Benson. So if you go to Sorcery Cards, Melissa Benson. Let's see, the Polar Bears, yep, confirmed for Alpha. All right, so this is a cool card with a cool effect. I think that's what he means, that oftentimes the illustration couples very closely with the card effect, and you're supposed to be able to just see the card and intuitively know what it does and have like a more fun and flavorful gameplay experience. So it says, ordinary beasts of extreme latitudes. They're at the North Pole or wherever, Antarctica. All right, can move as if the top and bottom edges of the realm are connected. All right, so that's a really cool, flavorful effect you only get in a grid-based game where you can transpose or like Pac-Man style, go from the top of the realm to the bottom and vice versa without going through the realm itself. So that's a really awesome card. And the other that he mentions is Autumn Unicorn by Severin Pignot, great artist with a lot of very significant art. And here's the beautiful Autumn Unicorn, an exceptional beast renowned in legend. All right, and it's a fairly simple card. It says 4 power, like average mid-level casting cost, early to mid. And it's just like a beautifully elegant card, and that's his point. Look how awesome this is. Just the scenic background is incredible, and then this is beautiful unicorn as the prominent feature. So he has a nice flavor text here. There's no special mechanics, simply flavor text. Concerning the fair unicorn, sundry notions do abide. Some demur, others deny. Children's delight and charlatans lie. All right. So some of these I think are like real world quotes. I'm not quite sure where that one comes from specifically. I'll have to look into that. But that's the point he's making. I see some maybe less extravagant cards like Polar Bears and Autumn Unicorn as big wins in the sense of perfect art, flavor, elegance of the card. All right. So they're not super powerhouse cards, but they still feel special. There's a lot of games where the ordinaries or common cards feel like throwaways, but I digress. A lot of cool things about each of the cards in this game. All right, next one. Erik, are the Relentless Crowd promos also being sent out with the Kickstarter stuff? All right, so for those of you who don't know, there was 100 cards printed of this Relentless Crowd card. And that is a really cool artwork by Ian Miller. I think as the story goes, if I recall correctly from some of the comments Eric made, I don't know, maybe like a year ago, he said that Ian had this artwork that he had done. And he was like, hey, do you have any use for this in the game? And he was like, yeah, I'll figure it out. And he let him use it. Or, maybe there's a license agreement or whatever the case may be. And you have this Relentless Crowd artwork that it was put on this special promo card very early on, only 100 copies printed, and they were given out through giveaways, promotional events, and early going of the game, rewarded to some people that were very influential in the game, just various contests and giveaways. So that's a really special card, super rare, really cool artwork by Ian. All right. Why do you have the underscore in your name? And so Eric jokes here, this is a vanity project after all. So in his Discord handle, it's up here. If you see where my cursor is, there's like Erik underscore. So he's just joking around. People joked a lot that this game's all about the artwork. And, it's a very significant aspect of the game, but it's a credible game too. It's a well-designed game, fun to play. And here he is joking around about his name in Discord. All right. Does the shipping company give you updates on where the container ship is? All right, so can you track the container ships as they're shipping our goods overseas, over the ocean? So he says, we will have tracking during the process, but it does not have live GPS data of the location. And then he follows up with the joke, we want to not help piracy. So the king has a sense of humor. If you don't know, I like calling Eric the king of the realm. I think it's kind of funny and fitting as the creator, co-creator, and designer of this game. All right, so is there any concerns with copyright or trademark? All right, so this dovetails, I think, off of the recent video I made and the point about the benefits of having the copyright symbol on the card, which was a design choice that was removed. So instead of that copyright symbol down by the artist's name, you now have the alpha logo in a circle. All right, so he says art can't be copied regardless of a symbol or not, if that's what you mean. The artist card in the box topper pack also talks about this. All right, yeah, so it goes without saying you can't copy someone else's work. The artists own the copyright. That's kind of where the nuance is here, I think. If you don't have the copyright symbol there by the artist's name, you wouldn't intuitively know if the company or the artist themselves owns the copyright or trademark. But nevertheless, it's illegal to replicate published licensed work. So having the copyright on there, there's some data out there. If you go to LegalZoom, there's a nice article where I reference that if you have the copyright symbol on there, you can't have someone come to court and say like, oh, I didn't know, because it's printed right there on the card. If it's not on there, they do have that plea of ignorance, so to speak. And they can weasel their way out in the court system is the risk. So it's just a nice to have, and it affords the artist some extra protections. So it's something that I put out there to suggest like maybe that's something they might consider changing in the future to protect artists. But for now they have the alpha logo. As it stands at the moment, I think that will be replaced with the beta logo for beta, or the symbol, the Greek symbol. All right. So this guy had a 2-stage question. I think the first one was very interesting, actually. Do you plan to make public the print run numbers for each future set? Second question, would you be willing to consider selling just the pre-con decks through the national chains while only selling the booster boxes at LGS? So I'll cover that second one first. He said, really wouldn't make sense to split it up. He thinks he should offer all the products through the different distributor network, retailer network system, right? But this point on, are you going to announce the print runs? That is a good question. And it's kind of a double-edged sword because it leads to a lot of speculation whether you report those numbers before or after release. I personally think it's not a good idea to report that. Just let natural supply and demand economics take its course, and that'll tell you everything you know about if you overprinted or underprinted, and then the company can adjust. Maybe they can print in waves or adjust for the next release. But putting those numbers out there has caused a lot of speculation in other TCGs, so it's kind of a double-edged sword in a way. So Eric's response, not sure yet. We will probably make it public, but we'll make that decision later. All right, so he's leaning towards announcing it. But he said it's undecided and no sense of timeline. Will it be pre-release of each set? Will it be right after fulfillment and it's all sold? or it's out of print, or will be many years later. You know, we have no idea. All right. All right, next one. Will it be possible to pick up the precons anywhere after Kickstarter fulfillment? Good question. A lot of people are asking, you know, I missed the Kickstarter fulfillment. How do I at least get the precon deck so I can try the game? And the king says, we will make new pre-constructed decks with the beta edition. All right, so there will be pre-constructed decks for beta. He's calling them new, so a lot of people are speculating, are they different from the alpha ones? Because alpha is kind of, or beta is kind of like an extension of alpha, and he had previously said that there would be very minimal changes. So it'll be interesting to see if they're designing like a new pre-con deck for some reason, you know, or if he just means that there'll be additional available for beta. All right, but in any case, there will be pre-cons for beta. All right. Do we get anything for being the first person with a full set of Curios? So here, Erik jokingly says, how do you know for sure if you have the full set or not? So we know nothing about Curios, right? It's a mystery. Curios are going to be special cards that have some historical relevance or tie to the development of the game in some way, and that's all they've told us. We don't know how many are in there. We don't know exactly what form they'll manifest in the set, and we don't know like the pull rates or how rare they'll be. We do expect that they will be very rare. We don't know how many there will be, how many different ones, how many copies of each. So there's a lot of mystery surrounding that. I think he's thinking about like if and when he'd ever release that, but at least in the early going, we're not going to know. You got to find out through opening the packs. And I think I'll hold the next point because I think there was a follow-up question about this. All right, so Erik, what was your involvement in the Curios? I mean, from concept to inclusions, and is there anything you are particularly excited about someone opening? No spoilers, of course. All right, so this is what I was getting at. All right, so he responds, I can say that once people find out more about Curios, it will impact how they look at the cards during box openings. I'm looking forward to seeing how this impacts box opening videos. All right, so there's been some talk over the past year plus about this, about how the Curios could be very nuanced, which I think some people have interpreted to mean maybe just like a simple word change, or who knows, maybe it could be a flavor text change or something like subtle enough that like it won't be like other normal game opening experiences where people just kind of quickly shuffle past the ordinaries and go right to the chase slots and the hit slots in the pack, and that's all they care about, right? The Curio concept will make you look closely and appreciate each card and look at the fine detail and see if there's anything unique or special about it, which is also a really cool concept, and something I've heard from artists too. I know Tony Sulo is very well known for this. He likes to hide Easter eggs in his cards. Very subtle. Makes you look really closely at his artwork and appreciate the depth and detail of his artwork. And a lot of artists do this. I know Ed Bear Jr. has done this in his Dragon Lord series. If you join his Patreon, you can kind of see him doing that in real time. And the cool thing about Ed's work is that he's doing these paintings in pretty large form, and there's just like a stunning amount of detail, more so than the printer can even handle once it gets pressed to card form. So, you know, by watching him do this live, we're seeing these Easter eggs being embedded in there that we may not necessarily see in the card once printed in the card form factor. And then also there's been artists that hide things behind the game mechanic box. Elvira Shakarova is an example of this, where she's done this in many of her artworks. And I have some behind the art features on collectorarthouse.com. And if you compare the full art illustrations to the normal card picture, you'll be able to see those Easter eggs if you choose to go look at that, or if you wait, for the product officially after release. You can look at the full art cards, the foil cards, right? The foils will have the foil on the face and then the full art on the back. And then when you see the full art, there'll be some cool surprises and Easter eggs there. So something to look forward to. All right, next question. We've got a few more here. Video's at 14 minutes. All right. When and where can I pre-order beta over here in Europe? All right, so the response, we are still not ready to share any details about this. There's work happening behind the scenes, and Europeans will hopefully have several different options on getting beta boxes. All right, guys, so that's an important answer. A lot of people over in Europe or Canada, this is about Europe specifically, so I'll stick to that. But people overseas in Europe are worried about, with the Team Covenant pre-order, you have shipping costs, boxes are not lightweight, so shipping can be a little costly. And then you have value-added tax, or the import tax that you have to pay when you ship from the U.S. to Europe. So things can get expensive quickly, right? So you want to typically the Europeans like to buy within the Eurozone or European countries and just retailers and whatnot. And here he is confirming that those options will be available to you. It just hasn't been announced yet. All right, so we need to be patient. They're working on the details, and when it's finalized and ready to announce, they'll announce it. All right, so stand by. All right, will you take a vacation after the Kickstarter is done? Come on, who takes breaks? This is his full-time job, There's no rest for the wicked is part of his response. We are already into the next intense development cycle of Arthurian Legends and other things. All right, so there's a lot going on. Even on a one-year cadence, there's a lot of work to do. I know there's a lot of art commissioning going on. That's coming up in maybe the next question here. But yeah, don't take breaks. Keep going hard. This is the initial launch and debut launch of a very special project. So just stay focused, keep grinding, all right? All right, can you confirm that alpha artists are on board for future expansions, or do you intend to shift up the artists you utilize? All right, so you're going to change up the artists, bring on new artists, or you're going to keep going with the alpha artists? Good answer here. I'm very happy to hear this, and I was kind of aware since I work with a lot of the artists, and we'll be working with many more with art proofs and things coming up. But his answer was, most artists are still working on expansions, but I also want to keep things fresh and collaborate with artists in a way that fits their art the best. Some set themes might fit the style of some artists especially well, for example. All right, so again, I talk with all of the artists, and I know that, like he says here, almost all of them are commissioning for future sets. Definitely for Arthurian Legends, perhaps beyond that, and some are not. And I think that's because their unique style may not fit exactly with the Arthurian Legends set theme. However, I know early on there were some folks that were not immediately commissioned for Arthurian Legends, and they are now working on painting. And I don't know if that is for Arthurian Legends or if it is for the subsequent set beyond that. But it made sense to me initially. This small subset of artists from Alpha that were not immediately commissioned, their style was not really fitting of Arthurian Legends, but it could be uniquely fitting of a different kind of theme. I don't know what that theme is. I don't want to speculate. There's been some comments where you can kind of read between the lines that make sense based on the artists that were excluded early on, but I'll just leave it at that until the company comes out with something official. All right, I did not get a sorcery binder. Will I be able to get one with beta? Another great question. People have a lot of regrets that they didn't get enough binders and other ancillary products. So he says, we will create more ancillary products like that for sure, as long as the demand is there. And I think it is, definitely. So for the things like playmats, binders, those are the two core things, I think, at this juncture. We'll see what other creative ideas they might come up with. All right, is this the last one? Last question. What about playmats for those of us that missed a Kickstarter, likely available from third-party online, ? All right, playmats will likely be part of the store offerings as one of the items that they can order through distribution. All right, cool. So the retailers will be able to order from distribution partners official Sorcery playmats. So those will be readily available, presumably for people to go buy at LGSs and things like that, or online retailers. So that's really cool. I know that's something I asked Erik about because I work with a lot of the artists, and we'll be looking for ways to use their art creatively for different ancillary products. But I didn't want to step on Erik's toes if he had ideas to do official playmats through them. So I may have to look at maybe custom playmats or something a little uniquely different. But it'll be cool to get the official Sorcery branded playmats and the official artwork illustrations from the game and the game pieces themselves on more playmats. And there were several offered through the Alpha Kickstarter, and it sounds like more to come, which is really cool because there's so much great art in this game that to see it in that larger form factor is really special and cool, and creates for a fun game experience. All right, guys, so that was all the questions. Man, another 20-minute video, huh? So hopefully that was insightful and helpful. you know, saved you some time combing through millions of comments that get buried in Discord. And that's the summary. So a lot of cool insight, and yeah, a lot to look forward to. Shipping this coming week. We're going to start seeing shipping. It's going to be on boats. We're going to get our GPSs flying over the ocean, tracking these things. Or drones is what I meant. Dropping the little GPS air tags on the boats. Now, but yeah, hopefully it gets through customs smoothly and gets out to us in the next 1 to 2 months. And, you know, life's going to change after release. I think there's going to be a lot more content. I'm going to be doing a lot of box breaks. I'm going to be doing art proofs with the artists, special hand embellished prints, maybe trying to reach out to you retailers to see how we can collaborate and do some cool stuff. I got a lot of ideas, so stay tuned. Definitely join the Discord. I announce a lot of my efforts in there. Look for the fan page and marketplace Facebook group in the description. The art proofs and altars Facebook group that I created. Those links are always in the in these videos, right, guys? So sign up to all those communities. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on. This game's highly collectible, highly playable. It's going to be fun to play too. There's so much to look forward to. Everyone's really pumped up, and we're getting really close, so it's exciting. All right, so please like and subscribe, share the video, sign up for all the forums. It's all free. Please join the communities, and I'd love to have you. And until next time, thanks for tuning in and hanging on through another 20-minute video. Appreciate it. Take care.